Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this quick little injury update newsy type video, we're going to be talking about how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have designated both Scotty Miller and Sean Murphy-Bunting to return to the team from the injured reserve. If you guys are new here, go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button if you do enjoy these types of videos, and leave your thoughts about both Scotty Miller and Sean Murphy-Bunting potentially coming back to the team sooner rather than later down in the comments section below. So what does this mean? Well, first things first, this does not automatically mean that Scotty Miller and Sean Murphy-Bunting are back on the active roster, fully ready to go, and they're just here, right? No, I believe, if I am correct on this information, which I feel like I am, if I am wrong, let me know down in the comments section below. But as far as I know, there's a 21-day practice window for them to fully put them back onto the active roster, and they would have to make, the Buccaneers being they, two moves to take up, or to, I guess, give those roster spots to Scotty Miller and Sean Murphy-Bunting. So they have a 21-day window to put Scotty Miller and Sean Murphy-Bunting back on the active roster now that they have been designated to return from the injured reserve, and they will have to get rid of two players on the active roster once Scotty Miller and Sean Murphy-Bunting are both fully back. But hey, this is great news, right? We'd actually talked about both of these guys getting some very light work in, right? Running during a recent practice. I believe one of the last practices the Buccaneers had before their game against the Saints in week number 8, and now that light work has transitioned into them, getting even more closer to coming back to the active roster here now that they have been designated to return from the injured reserve. In the case of Scotty Miller, he has been hurt since pretty much the start of the season with a turf toe injury. I believe he had sustained it in either week 2 or week number 3. Great deep threat. It only adds more depth to the wide receiving core, right? And while guys like Tyler Johnson and Jalen Darden have stepped up, and guys like Scotty Miller and Antonio Brown coming back that we talked about in a separate video, means that those guys will get pushed further down the depth chart and might not get as many opportunities as they have in recent weeks, it's still good to get back both Antonio Brown eventually and Scotty Miller now in this update video, because Scotty Miller, he's always good for like one or two just insane deep balls from Tom Brady, right? It just seems to happen pretty much every game where one or two really good passes from Tom Brady just hit Scotty Miller for a long, big chunk yardage type of play, sometimes it being a touchdown in the case of the Buccaneers NFC Championship game versus the Packers last year. And yeah, it's just good to have a deep threat. It's good to have more depth at the wide receiver core. It's good to see that Scotty Miller has progressed pretty darn well from his turf toe injury. That one can be definitely a tricky type of situation, especially with like skill position players like wide receivers and running backs and whatnot. The timetable is always up in the air, but it seems like Scotty Miller will be good to go. Great news for deep threat passing game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Great news for the wide receiver depth. And in the case of Sean Murphy-Bunting, we actually talked about him in a video about a day ago. Now him and Carlton Davis and Antonio Brown are all probably expected to be back after the Buccaneers bye week. This just solidifies that earlier report. Sean Murphy-Bunting being he, has been out since week number 1 when he had sustained a dislocated elbow injury against the Dallas Cowboys. Brutal injury. He was on the shelf there pretty much immediately, and that kind of started this string, right? This rash of injuries that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have had to deal with at their cornerback position. Carlton Davis, he's been hurt now with a quad injury. Jamel Dean has been dealing with some injuries this year. Again, Sean Murphy-Bunting. Richard Sherman, who was brought in because of all the injuries, he ended up getting hurt as well. D. Delaney has been dealing with some injuries as well. That's kind of been the main guys, right, who have had to miss games. But now they're getting some reinforcements back. Jamel Dean seems a little bit healthier. He hasn't had to miss too much time recently. And now with this news, Sean Murphy-Bunting is well on his way back as well. Great stuff. I feel like Sean Murphy-Bunting, of course, we know his versatility. He can play outside corner. He can play inside corner. I think when it does come to everybody being healthy, what are they going to do there? I imagine SMB is probably going to play a lot of nickel corner if I had to guess, and then maybe have Jamel Dean and Richard Sherman rotating as that outside number 2 corner in certain situations. That's just my guess. I mean, SMB is also really good as an outside corner as well, so maybe it's just a wait-and-see scenario. Who knows? But regardless, Sean Murphy-Bunting is coming back soon. Scotty Miller is coming back soon. This is great news both for the offense and the defense. And, you know, I don't know who the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would move, you know, to take those roster spots to give to Scotty Miller and SMB. We'll just have to wait on any types of reports like that whenever they do come up. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts about Scotty Miller returning to the team soon potentially, and Sean Murphy-Bunting as well. There's a 3-week period, again, 21-day period, where they will either A, have to be put on the active roster, or B, be reverted back to the injured reserve, and I believe miss the entirety of the year. I believe that is how that rule goes once you are designated to return from the injured reserve. So let's go ahead, guys. Let's wait and see what happens, and let's get excited because reinforcements are on the way on both sides of the football. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.